Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss my weekly posts. Okay, so today I thought we'd make some brownies just because I was in the mood personally, and who doesn't love brownies? So yeah, let's get into it. The first thing you're going to want to do is line a baking tin like I've done here. This is actually like a casserole dish. I'm not sure what size it is at all. Maybe I'll put it in the description. But this brownie batter makes like 24 reasonable sized pieces. So you need a big tin, line it with baking paper, and then preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius. And once you've done that, we're ready to get started with the batter. Right, so to start with, I have 230 grams of milk baking chocolate here, and I'm going to add to that 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. 1, 2, nice. And then I have some very hot melted butter here, which I'm just going to pour on top. Whoa, yeah, very hot. This bowl's actually too hot to handle. Okay, and yeah, we're just gonna give that a mix. So with that, you should have a nice liquidy chocolatey mixture, and we're going to set this to the side and move on to the next step. So for the next step, I've started by adding in 2 cups of caster sugar, and now I'm going to add in a 1/2 cup of dark brown sugar. Now that the sugars are in, I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And with that, I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of salt. Now the fun begins. I have 6 eggs over here, and we're going to beat them into the sugar one at a time. Alright, so I beat that for about 4 or 5 minutes, and now we're going to grab our lovely chocolate mixture from earlier. Just going to give it one final mix. Doesn't that look amazing though? Okay, I'm going to set the spoon to the side, and we are just going to carry on beating the sugar and eggs whilst pouring this in so it's well incorporated. Alright, so we are nearly done. I have a cup of plain flour in here along with 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, and I'm just going to go and sift that in so that we have no lumps. Cocoa powder is actually very fatty, which is why it tends to clump up a lot. You can see the clumps there. So whenever you're working with cocoa powder, you want to make sure you always sift it as long as it's a dry ingredient. Earlier, when we put the butter on the cocoa powder and chocolate, it didn't matter as it was all going to melt and dissolve into it, but when we're adding it to a batter like this, you definitely want to make sure that you're sifting the cocoa powder at least. At the minimum, you want to sift the cocoa powder, but if you're sifting one, why not sift the flour as well? So now that we've got our dry ingredients in, we're going to fold this all together using a spatula, and you want to do this very gently. So I always like to go around the perimeter first, and I'm just going to do a nice through the middle, bring it round, through the middle, bring it round. And you're just going to do this as evenly and as quickly as possible, making sure you take time to scrape the edges when necessary. Alright, so this is lovely, nice and thick and nicely incorporated. The final thing we're going to add in is 75 grams of chocolate chunks. I'm using the exact same chocolate as I did earlier, which is some milk baking chocolate. As you can see, it's not that much, 75 grams. you want very small to medium pieces like this. You do not want big chunks at all. And I always recommend that you use chocolate chunks in brownies, or like anything baked, to be honest, apart from like cookies and stuff. Just because even in cookies, to be honest, I always recommend chocolate chunks over chocolate chips if you can, because chocolate chips tend to have stabilizers, or at least more stabilizers, and so they don't melt as nicely, and that's why they're always sort of whole when they come out. These will sort of just incorporate into the batter. Obviously you don't have to if you don't want to, but I think it adds a lot, and they are very small pieces, so it's not like you're going to be getting bits of chocolate in the brownie. It'll just be an added bit of yumminess, and you want to fold that in nicely to try and get all the chocolate pieces evenly dispersed, but you don't want to overmix the batter, so I'm gonna stop there. Okay, so obviously the final step is just going to be pouring our beautiful batter into our baking dish. That looks amazing. Wow, those chocolate chunks were not folded in evenly at all, they're all at the bottom. But it's fine, we can just scrape them on evenly. Alright, so the batter is in here now. I always like to just do this to sort of make sure everything is nicely, thoroughly mixed around. There we go. It feels like there's an even amount of chocolate chips. And there we go. That was very easy, literally took 10 minutes. I'm gonna throw this in the oven now for 45 minutes. Okay, so the brownies are done now, and I'm just going to let these cool for a little bit, and when they cool I will cut them up and show you the final result. Also, make sure when you cool these that you don't take the brownies out until the tin is cold to the touch. And yeah, I'll be back when it's time to taste test. Okay, so the brownies are done, and these look absolutely amazing. I don't care what you say. I kind of attacked this one a bit with the knife, so I will try that one first. Okay, let's go. Look how chocolatey it looks. It tastes really good too. Okay, so that is the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you try these brownies because they taste beautiful. And I'll see you all next week.